How does AI play into the relationship of China and the United States going forward?
I'm sorry, where was the question coming? I'm sorry, sorry.
The tour guide from this afternoon.
Yeah, no, I was wondering where it was coming from. Yes, sorry.
How does AI play into the future relationship between China and the United States?
It plays a hugely important role, and I think a role that would have been difficult, if not impossible, to anticipate even 5 years ago. And since you asked, I can't resist offering at least a few thoughts about DeepSeek. I'm sure you all are familiar with the news of just the past few weeks. This paper that DeepSeek published that seems to demonstrate real significant gains in China's China's sort of homegrown artificial intelligence capabilities. I think that one of the determinations that both U.S. officials and Chinese officials have made is that a linchpin of their strategic competition, maybe even the linchpin of strategic competition, will be which country wins the race to achieve the commanding heights of critical and emerging technologies, and of course, artificial intelligence being a critical category of those technologies. The United States, with the Chips and Science Act and many other pieces of legislation, many other executive orders, the United States is pouring a tremendous amount of investment into burnishing its artificial intelligence capabilities. China is doing the same. And I think that one of the biggest changes, this artificial intelligence race, and I don't want to call it a race because race implies that there is sort of a defined end state, but this ongoing competition, it's occurring against the backdrop of, I think, one of the most profound changes in the broader bilateral relationship, which is for the better part of U.S. China relations since they normalized in 1979, I would say for about 35 years, there was a broadly shared conviction in the United States and China that a baseline level of economic and technological interdependence on net was a contributor to bilateral strategic stability. That conviction now has undergone a complete 180. The conviction now in the United States and China is not only is residual interdependence not a net contributor to strategic stability, it is increasingly a vector of strategic instability. So U.S. officials say, well, this residual interdependence, we essentially are enabling the technological resurgence of our principal competitor, maybe even an adversary. China, for its part, says the residual interdependence that we have with the United States, it gives the United States too much leverage to stymie our further technological development. So increasingly, there's this conversation about de-risking that's taking place in both Washington and Beijing. That conversation is going to intensify. The role of artificial intelligence, I think, accordingly, is going to become even more salient in the relationship.